Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Justin Banner. I am one of the founders here at Kivana, and I'm so excited to be talking to you today about our breakthrough product systems. We have Dr. Lehman as a special guest on this webinar with us that I know that you want to hear from as he highlights and goes through one of the most exciting products I've ever been involved with since my 20-year career in the natural products industry, and that is our Prime product system. I'm going to let him do the honors of introducing that product system to you in depth, but before he does, I want to give you a really high-level overview for about 2 minutes of what we're doing here at Kivana, because I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with our approach to natural products. The first thing that we decided to do is to do it differently, to be different than all the other companies. And so we created a niche in the natural product space by going and partnering directly with universities and researchers such as Dr. Lehman that you're going to hear from in a minute. See, a lot of people go to trade shows, they cook stuff up in the basement, they walk through jungles and find exotic fruits. We didn't take that approach. We wanted to come out with something that the market has never seen before, with the studies that the market has seen before, with efficacy that's never been seen before. And so, as I mentioned, we partner directly with universities. We partner directly with scientists who have breakthroughs, who have discovered something totally new, totally different, who have advanced thinking forward in some way, something that competition doesn't have, something that you'll never find at retail. You can't Google it, because we have direct relationships with the inventors, the scientists that have proven it. And so our approach we call breakthrough product systems. Kivana is all about bringing to you not a huge number of products, a small number of products that are the very, very best in the industry. We promise you can't find what we have anywhere else. We promise that they deliver the very best results. So we do have the Mercedes of natural products here, and I'm going to highlight a couple of the systems that Dr. Lehman is not going to talk to you about, but that I want to just make you aware of. The first product system we have is, of course, well, this slide here talks about our breakthrough approach, going directly to those universities, the researchers, the scientists, bringing them. Kivana becomes the bridge then to consumers, to bringing you the very best and offering them directly to you. The first product system that we have is metabolic. This is one that Dr. Lehman brought to us right out of his 30-year career at the University of Illinois. This is all about metabolism. It's not about rapid weight loss. It's not about starvation. It's not about getting skinny. It's about getting healthy with the optimal body composition by correcting your metabolism. And so this is everything about how you eat. This is giving you the right balance of nutrients to optimize your body composition, bringing you, getting rid of that unwanted fat, making your muscles more healthy, giving you the energy that you only dreamed was possible, and of course you get slim in the process. That's just as a side benefit, but metabolic is all about correcting your metabolism. Our second product system is the core system. And by the way, we have webinars on all of these that you can tap into, and we can go in depth, and you can hear a 15, 20-minute presentation on each of these. The core system is just what it says. It's the foundation of healthy aging. It's the foundation of good health. It's not just for people that are over 40. It's for everybody. The Core Essentials that you're seeing there is a stick pack. It's a powder that you pour directly into your mouth. This gives you a great energy lift. It brings mind clarity, but most people find it helpful for toning down those aches and pains, those creaky joints that get sticky, those lower back pains, the headaches that you get. This is a great anti-inflammatory. It's a natural anti-inflammatory, one of the most powerful on the market, with the Chinese skullcap 90% extract that we're using. That by itself is a magical product, and we pair it up with a core probiotic. The core probiotic is all about gut health, helping you digest food, break down food, get the nutrients out of food, and getting rid of waste like your body should. That's the core system. And our most recent product introduction is Shock. This is natural energy at its finest. It's not going to contain all of the ugly stuff, all of the artificial preservatives, artificial colors, artificial sweeteners that you find over the counter. This is 100% natural, and it has natural caffeine, which means you don't get a crazy energy spike and then a crash. You get a nice steady lift over time. You're not going to get jitters. You're not going to find your heart pumping out of your chest. You will find a nice energy lift, and you will also find that your brain becomes incredibly clear. Your memory is improved. We have a huperzine in there, which is a fantastic ingredient for helping out with cognitive function, brain health, making your mind more clear, getting rid of brain fog, helping you remember better, stay organized. You'll find we have all kinds of testimonials about people using shock. And so that is a 6-pack, and that is our natural energy product. And so without further ado, I know we all came here to hear Dr. Lehman today about benefits of, again, one of the most spectacular products I've ever seen, and that is our Prime Nitric Oxide Activator. And that probably doesn't mean a lot to you now, but I promise you in the next 15 minutes, you're going to be clamoring to get your hands on it when you hear what Dr. Lehman has to say about it. So Dr. Lehman, thanks so much for joining us, and we'd love to hear you introduce Prime to our audience today.
Well, thank you, Justin, for the introduction, and my pleasure to be with everyone here today. And I'm certainly excited to talk about Prime. As Justin said, one of the unique things about Kivana is we have a systems approach to health. We don't just have a magic bullet or a magic juice. We really want to see the big picture. As a professor of nutrition, when I think about nutrition and health, I really think about it as kind of the big things and the little things. The big things, what I refer to as the macro systems, is what Justin mentioned as metabolic. And this is an overall diet approach that helps correct metabolism. It's looking at the big things in the diet, your protein, carbohydrate, fat, the amounts of those things, and how they should be distributed through the day to make your muscles healthy and correct your metabolism. Metabolic's that foundation of the big things. And then we have the micro systems. We have things like vitamins and minerals, which are certainly important. And when you have metabolic, basically a good diet is going to be providing those. Perfectly fine to take 1 a day type of vitamins and minerals to support that. But what we want to do is look at some of the other, what we call micronutrients that you can't get in your diet. And this is where our systems like Core and Shock and Prime come into play. These are critical microsystems that are important to optimize health in your daily performance. As we look at this overall systems approach and big things, one of the aspects that we want as we integrate these systems is that we have learned that to deal with what we call cell signaling. Science and research has shown that cells actually talk to each other. They communicate constantly. And what we have done is look at products that sort of help and enable this system. Metabolic, that I've talked about before, is correcting metabolism, and it helps regulate insulin. It helps regulate your hormone system and how the muscles and other tissues will interact and sort of energize your metabolic system. Core and Shock, that we'll talk about in other webinars, also are part of this signaling system. Core helps one of the main energy sensors in the body, which we'll talk about as AMPK, and also with prostaglandins. Shock, on the other hand, works with neurotransmitters in your brain to enhance alertness and cognitive function. So these are all different signaling systems that we're looking to integrate. And the one we're going to talk about today, which I think is incredibly exciting, is Prime. Prime is a potent cardiovascular signal, and it works with a molecule known as nitric oxide, which really controls one of the major signaling aspects in your blood. So we want to focus on Prime. Like I said, the issue of Prime really centers around a little molecule known as nitric oxide. We abbreviate that as NO. Nitric oxide was first discovered back in 1997. And at that point, the president of the American Heart Association came out and stated that NO, nitric oxide, is one of the most significant discoveries in cardiovascular health in the history of medicine. And pretty much everyone agreed with him. Within the next year, the researchers who discovered nitric oxide were awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine for that discovery. So this really is a significant breakthrough in our understanding about, again, how cells communicate and how we regulate cardiovascular health. So let's talk a little bit about how nitric oxide works. So this is a schematic. This is a cross-section of an artery. And if you look from the inside out, so we have our red blood cells that circulate through the artery. And what we want those to do is freely pass through the artery. Lining that interior part is a thin layer of cells called the endothelial cells, which is pretty much a single layer. And when we have problems in our arteries, a lot of times the damage occurs there. And the next layer out from that, we have what are called smooth muscle cells, which I've highlighted. And that's really a ring of muscle cells that go all the way around the artery. And just like muscle cells in the rest of your body, whether it's in your arms or your legs, these cells can contract and relax. When they contract, they tighten up, and basically the artery will narrow, will increase the pressure flowing through it. And when we relax, the muscles relax and the artery will open up and blood flows more easily. It turns out that the major regulator, the major signal that regulates this contraction relaxation is a molecule known as nitric oxide. And what they discovered back in the late 90s was the origins of this molecule nitric oxide was an amino acid called arginine. And there was an enzyme that converts it into nitric oxide. So arginine is converted by an enzyme known as NO synthase, NO synthase, a lot of times abbreviated NOS, and that converts it into nitric oxide. And when nitric oxide increases in the muscles, or in the artery, it allows these muscles to relax and blood flows more easily. So let's just look at that in a little bit more detail. There's another sort of cross-section of the arteries, and we can think about the arteries that sometimes we would like them to contract, and we call this vasoconstriction. For example, if you go out in the cold, your body tries to protect heat, and it will contract it. It's one of the reasons why your feet or your toes get cold when you go out, is your body is protecting the blood flow to the central organs. Likewise, if we're short of oxygen, if we're breathing heavy, the artery can relax and we'll get more oxygen flowing to the tissues, to the muscles, for example, during exercise. So the artery is constantly relaxing or contracting. Look at that in a different way. Here's another schematic. And so on the left, we have a normal blood flow. And so we have the big artery at the top and the blood flowing through very easily, the red blood cells. And then down at the bottom, we have a little branch that's a capillary. And these red blood cells literally go through one at a time. And so in the middle panel, then you can see frequently, and certainly as we get older, a lot of times we'll begin to get obstructions. We might get something like plaque, sort of the yellow material that begins to block that artery. It contracts it and narrows it down. Or even in the capillary, we can get narrowing in these capillaries. It's one of the main problems in diabetes. Why people have so many vascular problems in diabetes is these capillaries begin to lose their blood flow. And so what we want to do is to learn how to keep these arteries open and also help them to relax. And so one of the major things that helps control that, again, is nitric oxide. When we have sufficient nitric oxide, it allows the arteries to relax, blood flows more easily, and we're less likely to have any other cardiovascular complications like heart attacks or strokes. So nitric oxide is really this signaling molecule that helps our arteries stay healthy and helps us have a healthy blood flow. One of the problems with all of that, though, is that as we get older, this nitric oxide production changes. And so if you can see the schematic there, when we're in our 20s and 30s, the system's working really good. We're producing the nitric oxide and that NOS system. We're using the amino acid arginine, and there's a lot of arginine around. we're using it to produce all the nitric oxide we need. However, as we keep getting older into our 40s, to our 50s, to our 60s plus, that system keeps going down. And you can see in the schematic that by the time we're in our 60s and beyond, we may lose up to 85% of our ability to produce nitric oxide from that amino acid, arginine. You'll see a lot of supplements out on the market where people are trying to give arginine or maybe its related molecule called citrulline. And what you find is those products don't work very well because the actual problem is we're losing that enzyme. We just can't use arginine as well. So that's kind of the bad news. The good news is that the body, in all its wisdom, actually has a second system. So over on the right hand, we have that sort of the original system that was discovered as arginine using NOS to produce nitric oxide. But on the left side, what was discovered a few years back is there's a second system that actually begins with a molecule known as nitrate. Nitrate is kind of an interesting molecule. It's actually an inorganic salt that is naturally occurring in the diet. We see it in things like spinach and beets and things like that. And the body can actually use this salt, produce a second salt known as nitrite, and from that, the body can actually produce nitric oxide. So we have two different approaches, and the body can actually use either of them. The big catch to all of that is that our ability to use nitrate requires dietary input. So we have to be able to get enough of it in our diet. And like I said, it's naturally occurring in a number of foods like spinach and beets. But what we now know is you just can't eat enough of those to ever get enough nitrate in them. You simply just can't. I mean, it takes bushels of spinach or beets to actually get enough in a normal diet. And so there's been a lot of research over the past few years sort of looking at the use of plant extracts, particularly beets, to get the nitrate that we need. And I just have a paper here. This is 2013. Just want to emphasize how new this research is, that this is a review of the scientific literature, what we call a meta-analysis that reviews all the available literature. And what they concluded was there's very clear evidence that this beetroot juice, the beetroot plant extract, is associated with significant reduction in blood pressure. And so we have actually been able to collaborate with, just like Justin said, partner up with the researchers who actually originally got the Nobel Prize and have gone on to study this nitrate system and lead to the development of our totally unique product known as Prime. Prime is a plant extract. It's a natural product using beetroot powder, hawthorn berry, quercetin, and pine bark. Proprietary formula. There's nothing like it on the market. And basically, it is a unique activator, a producer of nitric oxide using that second system, the system that becomes more important as we get older. What we know that Prime does, nitric oxide, is it's very important for vasodilation that I've already talked about, increases blood flow. When you do that, it usually reduces blood pressure. Certainly in individuals who tend to have higher blood pressure, it brings it back down to normal. In doing that, we reduce cardiovascular risk, your risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. And along with that, we improve other aspects of metabolism. It helps the body deliver nutrients to the cell. So it helps regulate blood sugar, glucose uptake, and helps burn fats. It helps mitochondria function better. So Prime has an amazing effect to sort of improve circulation, improve blood pressure, reduce your risk of heart attack, and improve overall metabolism. So it fits together super well with our other products like Metabolic, like Core. It's part of that systems approach. And this one is specifically looking at circulation, our blood circulation and cardiovascular health. How does it actually work? Well, the product, again, it's a powder that we put on our tongue, put in our mouth, and it just dissolves. And in the mouth, we have what are called linguinal bacteria that just reside in our mouth, and they begin to convert that natural salt into the second salt, nitrite. You then swallow it, in the acidic conditions of the stomach, that nitrite can be actually converted, some of it into nitric oxide, and some of it will actually pass on into the lower intestine as nitrite. So we get nitric oxide and nitrite. From there, they're actually absorbed into the blood, move through the blood and circulation, and then will work with the arteries to produce nitric oxide where it's needed. So it all starts with the nitrate in the mouth, and we ultimately can get the nitrite into the right positions into the blood circulation, and the body uses it to produce nitric oxide. So it's amazing research that our partners have discovered. We've been able to put it together in our proprietary product, and it just has amazing effects. I just want to show you one example that we like to show that sort of shows the effects of Prime. So this is just a young adult in his 40s, and basically it's a thermal image of circulation. So in the top two panels, basically you see a thermal image of the individual before using Prime, and you see the colder, bluer areas versus the higher, whiter, the green areas. And then 30 minutes, just 30 minutes after taking Prime, what you see is the thermal image shows a much brighter circulation. Circulation to the extremities, circulation in the back. This is a very rapid effect. Again, in individuals with elevated blood pressure, you can see the blood pressure come down very easily. Other individuals, you'll just see increase in circulation. This is a remarkable effect. It occurs fairly rapidly, and it's an amazing improvement in circulation. I've been talking so far about it sort of for blood pressure and kind of emphasizing the issue of changes in our circulation as we age. But I think one of the most amazing discoveries in the last few years is it's gotten a lot of press with athletes. I go to a lot of research meetings for athletic trainers and exercise physiology, and beetroot powders have become really the hottest topic in the athletic arena. So just like we talked about with aging, that circulation is important for blood flow and delivery of oxygen or other nutrients to muscles, what we found in the exercise literature is it's just as important for younger athletes. And there has been a lot of research with young elite athletes in their 20s and 30s that beetroot powder increases endurance. And so our product, what we have found, works great for increasing circulation, and it works great alongside of metabolic to supercharge your muscles. Metabolic helps to stimulate muscle activity and protein turnover and healthy muscles, and Prime helps to stimulate circulation to deliver those nutrients to the muscle, the oxygen, the amino acids, the energy that the muscle is going to use to perform at its peak. I just want to show you a few papers. Again, this is really current research. Top paper there, 2010. These are in the leading physiology journals in the world. American Journal of Physiology. The top paper shows the impact of dietary supplements of nitrate on blood pressure. What they showed in this paper was that the beetroot powder will actually increase endurance in athletes. The second paper there, Journal of Applied Physiology, 2013, similar, what they showed that in young athletes in their 20s, that beetroot powder enhanced performance, definitely stimulating energies, blood flow and delivery of nutrients to the muscles. And then the third paper at the bottom, European Journal of Applied Physiology, 2016, hot off the press, beetroot powder in people doing resistance exercise and weightlifting, that it reduced soreness. So this is an amazing product that stimulates circulation. It's great for adults as we get older. It helps with our circulation, reducing cardiovascular risk, potentially reducing blood pressure if you have that problem. But it's also great with young athletes. It stimulates blood flow, delivery of nutrients to the muscles, and just overall muscle health. So we think Prime is just an incredible product. It comes with a bio tester. You can test your saliva to see the nitrite levels that are in it. It's just an amazing product, and it's one that I recommend everyone try. It's something you'll find out if it works very quickly. You should be able to feel the difference. I use it before I exercise. It has an amazing ability in increasing your endurance. So I think it's a remarkable product, and it's one that, you know, I hope everyone will give a try to. And again, it's part of our approach of creating a systems approach to health. As Justin mentioned at the beginning, this is real science. We're not, you know, Googling it up. We're not going to a trade show. We're partnering with the scientists who've actually made these discoveries. And so as a scientist myself, this is how I think. I want the real science, and I want systems that work together. So this is a great one. Prime's great. And we appreciate you joining us today. In our next series, the session number 5, what I'm going to speak more about is another product that Justin mentioned, was his Core, which is a combination of our essentials, which is really an adaptogen that helps us with our metabolic stability, and also the probiotic, which helps us with gut health, which is absolutely critical for overall nutritional health. So again, I appreciate you joining us today. And again, I encourage you to go out and try our product Prime. It's absolutely amazing, and I think you're going to really enjoy it.
Well, thanks so much, Dr. Lehman. We really enjoyed hearing from you. And just for those of you that don't know Dr. Lehman or his background, I just want to reiterate that this is one of the world-leading scientists when it comes to human nutrition. He spent many, many years doing experiments, performing research, and publishing papers. In fact, he has over 100 papers published in the area of human nutrition. So this, again, we are partnering directly with world-leading scientists, the best experts that we could find that exist on the planet are working together with Kivana to bring you the very latest. And so thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. We are glad that you've tuned in to hear all about Prime. What gets better with Prime? Everything, because it's circulation. Your body is based on having blood flow through it, and when that highway gets shut down, when it gets clogged up, when it gets a traffic jam, things don't work as good as it can. We are opening those up for athletic performance. We're opening up those arteries for helping your brain function, sexual function, blood pressure reduction, fingers and toes getting warm, all kinds of benefits when you use Prime. And so get back to the person that invited you to this webinar and make sure that you ask them how to get the 20 to 30% discount by becoming a preferred customer of Kivana. Thanks again, and tune into one of our other webinars exploring the wonderful benefits of our breakthrough product systems.